Good morning. You might notice a bit of a different background this morning, and that's because I'm in Mary Jane's car today. Not to worry, there's nothing wrong with mine. We just switched for the day because I am picking up a gift for Ellie, and it's rather large. It won't fit in my car, so we just switched cars for the day. No big deal there. And, yeah, so she is not feeling great this morning. I think she's going to take a sick day from work, but she's not going to hate it too much because she gets to be with Ellie all day, so that'll be nice. My mother-in-law left early this morning for Tennessee. She and her good friend are taking a vacation down there. So, for her birthday is in 2 days on Friday. It's on Friday, which is in 2 days. Because saying it the other way around, in 2 days on Friday, makes it sound like once it becomes Friday, her birthday will be in 2 days. And that's not the case. I don't know why it's so blurry and focus troubles this morning, so I apologize for that. I've been rereading, I mentioned this before, the Harry Potter series. I've read it through a few times. I actually wrote a blog a while back about the fact that I haven't read the first book more than 2 times. The other ones I've reread multiple times, but the first time I read it, it was actually read to me by my mother, because I was like 11, 10, and it was a little excuse me, above my level. Plus, it was just something fun that we did together. And then when I reread it the second time, it was just within the last year. So it's been quite a while. Excuse me. But right now I'm on the 6th book, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. And it is in the beginning, well, the end of the 5th book and the beginning of the 6th that we find out what the prophecy from Professor Trelawney to Dumbledore actually meant. And we find out that there are 2 people to whom it could apply, because even on the prophecy itself, there's the little tag that labels it that says Harry Potter ? And I disagree with it. And I know, obviously the whole series is about Harry, and it's kind of just, it's a detail that's thrown in there, but not really elaborated on a whole ton. Not much more than a chapter, really. And that is the fact that it could also be about Neville Longbottom. He was also born at the end of July, just like Harry was. His life was also ultimately changed by Voldemort. His parents were, to all intents and purposes, killed. They ended up in the hospital for the rest of their life because they were irreparably attacked and tortured. Which, that's another topic for another day, is I don't know how magic can't just undo magic. But, the only detail that they really throw in there and say that makes it Harry instead of Neville is that Voldemort has left a physical mark, which obviously is Harry's lightning bolt scar. But as important a character as Neville is, and as good friends as he is, especially in the 5th book and on, with Harry and Hermione and Ron, we don't have that many details on Neville. He's kind of a glossed over character, kind of the bumbling fool that shows up and saves the day in very, very low light. But that key right there is what I'm going to harp on for the next couple of minutes, is that he saves the day. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong. I obviously haven't read the 7th book in a while. I've seen the 7th movie more recently. But I feel as though this is a detail that wouldn't have been changed so drastically. Neville kills Voldemort's snake, Nagini. Yes? Good. Nagini is, as far as Voldemort knows, the seventh and final Horcrux. And ultimately leads to Voldemort's demise. Now, yes, Harry had already died. There's the quotes again. Sorry, it's just a thing. Harry had already died in the Forbidden Forest and come back and continued to fight. So he had already conquered death, and the Horcrux inside Harry was destroyed at that point when he died and returned. So we'll never really know what would have happened if it had been the other way around, if the snake had been killed first and then Voldemort tried to be killed. Because as far as I understand Horcruxes, you kind of have to intentionally create them. So while yes, the connection between Harry and Voldemort was established and very, very well described and like a pivotal detail in the story, I don't know how strong it would be. Like, obviously Voldemort has inhabited Harry before, and it's not like changed him completely. So had the snake been killed first and then they tried to kill Voldemort, would it have worked? We'll never know. But I'd like to think yes, and really doesn't matter anyway. Maybe the destiny all along, the prophecy all along, which is what I believe, points to Neville as being the, quote, chosen one. I refrained. I put my fingers up, but I brought them back down. Instead of Harry. Because even though Harry was the one that had to die in order for Voldemort to be weakened further, it was Neville that actually destroyed the final Horcrux and allowed Voldemort to die. So while yes, Harry is the one that actually performed the act, Neville is the one that made it possible. And had he not lived, Voldemort likely would have survived, because that snake was bound to attack and ready to strike and prevent Harry from killing Voldemort. So, and had that happened, because Harry had already died once, so he's like, his extra life or power up or whatever you want to call it is expired. So had the snake actually killed Harry, I think the morale of everyone else would have just been so deflated that Voldemort eventually would have won. So had Neville not killed the snake, everybody else would have died and or lost the battle / war. Ultimately, Voldemort would have won in some regard. So to me, all the pieces fit except for that physical mark. But like I was saying, we don't have a whole lot of details on Neville as a physical character. We know him emotionally. We know him through the other characters. But he could very well have some sort of physical damage to him. Maybe not directly from Voldemort, but you have to remember, like, his parents were tortured and taken away from him at a young age. I mean, essentially the same age Harry was, less than a year old. Which is going to leave a mark in your brain for sure. And then he's raised by his, like, old-fashioned, by-the-books, harsh, strict grandmother. So I have to believe that, like, when Neville stepped out of line, like, Grandma probably wrapped him on the wrist a few times or swatted him on the butt, you know? It's a very real possibility that she left not necessarily some abusive marks, but maybe some inadvertent or even Neville himself, like, growing up without his parents, like, and he's a bumbling fool anyway, so, you know, he could have tripped down the stairs and he might have a scar on his chest or on his arm, like, not anywhere that somebody's necessarily going to see it, but a visible mark, physical mark nonetheless. So it's a very real possibility that Neville has all the qualities that the prophecy describes. We just, as the readers, aren't privy to them because we only go as far as Harry goes and as far as the author allows us to. obviously, the author, the creator of the series, J.K. Rowling, has the right to refute any detail and change them or add to them as she sees fit. But I believe that Neville is the actual chosen one, and without him, Voldemort would have won. So he is the one that, while didn't survive a killing curse and doesn't have this connection to Voldemort, still fits into the puzzle as the piece that completes it. Without Neville, Voldemort wins. So, hashtag Team Neville, hashtag Harry Potter and the Misunderstood Prophecy. I think Neville's the chosen one, and it's going to be hard to convince me otherwise. I'll see you this afternoon.